Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're having an awesome day wherever you're at. I'm back, of course, with more Dragon Ball action figures going down, adding to my collection. This is from Dragon Ball Superhero, Piccolo Superhero. I did want to get Piccolo added to the collection. Guys, so moving on here with Piccolo from Dragon Ball Superhero. Got him out of the box. He looks pretty cool. Not a lot of accessories. You do get a couple of hands here. Actually, you get two pairs of extra hands in different poses. So here, these are kind of stretched out. Very similar to the ones that came with Vegeta. And again, they're done in green and match up pretty well with the character. These other hands, again, these are more like grasping or reaching out here. So again, no biggie there. So you don't get a lot of hands, but you know, you do get those. And then this last one, you do get just one. And this is, I'm assuming, more of a key, what they call it, a key blast hand with the two fingers, kind of shooting these enemies or while fighting. So again, that's that. You also do get two additional extra heads there. Just trying to give you a bit of a closer look here. You get two of them. As you guys can see there on the right, you've got the one where he's screaming there, but I think the details are pretty well done. And then on the left, you've got the extra, I guess, more serious or straining kind of look. The eyes are well done. The expressions, even on this one, like with the little teeth in the mouth, I think the coloring's done really well on the eyes. No issues there. The green's kind of on point, kind of matches the character really well. You also do, as you could tell, get these little plastic antennas on both heads, which are done really well, but they are pretty thin. So, you know, it's probably something where you want to avoid sort of hitting these antennas into something. You could potentially break them. And again, these heads are kind of the type that you kind of just pop in and out, kind of pull the old head out and replace it with the new one. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the accessories. Not much, but I will say this guy probably makes up with the size, because he does seem a little bigger than the other Dragon Ball figures that I have. Just moving on here to Piccolo. First impressions right out of the box is that, again, he looks pretty awesome. You guys see he comes with that smirking kind of look. So again, looking pretty cool there. He's got the same gi as Ultimate Gohan. Again, you've got the purple with the red sash there. Looks really cool. And moving on down, you've got pretty much the same look as Gohan there. You know, you still got the folds of different colors of purple and everything that look really cool. Even the shoes are pretty similar, if not the same, just slightly bigger. You got that brown khaki-like look there on the shoes. And you guys could see all those folds and additional details on the pants are done really well. Here's the back. Again, loving that detailing and the different paints and everything. The sash here on the back is also the same as Gohan's, Ultimate Gohan anyway, where it's a separate piece, so you can rotate this independently than the rest of the waist. And again, you could see here the details in the uniform, which again look really cool. We're going to move him around here and give you a closer look at the face, but again, no issues there. Very similar to the other faces that come with this guy. Looks really good. He's still got the little plastic antennas that I would just mention, probably want to be a little careful with you know, avoiding hitting that against anything. But again, the detail, the face, the shape, again, looks pretty cool. Also, I know as we were moving down, I didn't kind of mention the details on the arms, which again look pretty on par with what I recall seeing mainly in Dragon Ball Z and also in Dragon Ball Super. There is a Dragon Ball Z version of this character, and he comes with the whole like weighted cape or what have you. I chose to go with this one because this one was a bit more affordable. I think this was $36 versus the Dragon Ball Z version was around 70, so I decided to go with this one. But again, you guys can see there on the arms, you got some, it's not an old plane, so you got some nice details there on the arms with the ridges and the line work there. And you know, little plaques there, as I call them, with the biceps and the forearms and the yellow with the lines. again, no issues with the paint. I think it's done really well. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that uniform is pretty much the same as Ultimate Gohan's. It's just pretty much Piccolo wearing it. So again, overall, no issues from a look perspective. This thing looks pretty freaking epic, I must say. From a posability standpoint, he pretty much has the same sort of articulation as the other figures. So we'll move him up here. You guys could see here, you can move the head fully around. Just being really careful not to touch his antennas. You can move the head down itself, but there's also an additional joint here on the neck. So you could move this and make this guy look pretty much all the way down. And as far as looking up, he can look up that much, like so. And then, you know, again, you can move the neck independently as well, so that's really cool. Over here on the arms, unlike Ultimate Gohan, the sections in Gohan had these little purple parts of the gi where part would get in the way sometimes when moving the arm. In this case, they've made this a separate piece. It is attached by a little, looks like a little peg here on the back, but it is kind of loose and separate in the front. And then what that allows you to do is kind of move this slightly out of the way. It does feel a bit delicate, I want to say, so I probably wouldn't use a lot of force. But then that allows you to kind of move the arm and kind of get this stuff out of the way, at least on my copy. So I don't know if you guys can see, there's a little, looks like a little tab where this is kind of attached there, and that gives you a bit of flexibility when trying to move this upper arm here. You guys can see you can move the arm, just be really careful not to get things caught here and potentially break something, but it's something that you could do there. Bicep articulation is there, again, no issues there. Double jointed elbows like all the other figures, which I love about these figures. And you've got your wrist here. You can move the arm, the hand fully around, and you can move the fist up and down. Then you know, this is a deal where you kind of pop these off and then put the other kind of hands in. The upper section here of the chest has its own articulation, so you can use this to help him look down and then also help him look up. And then the waist here, you can turn this fully around. As I said, the red sash section here, you can see some of the detailing there. It's kind of separate from the waist, so no issues with moving that around. You can then move this independently into place and no issues. So again, some nice articulation there. Right down here on the waist, you can kick up that much. And then unlike Ultimate Gohan, he can kick back just about that, like that. And then you've got the double jointed knees there, so you get some great articulation. He can also kick himself in the back. What they did differently to allow this leg to move back, unlike Gohan, is this little section here on the center, on the back, is it's not as wide as Gohan. So in this case, that allows Piccolo here to kick back pretty well. He could do a pretty decent split, I must say. So again, could go in there, and then you can turn these fully around independently on this angle. Just make sure that when you do so, you avoid some potential rubbing down here with this part. So just move them slightly out if you're going to move the legs freely. Again, showed you the nice knee articulation, but then you also get some ankle, so you can fully rotate these and move them slightly left and right and up and down. And then looking at the shoes there, you can then take the toe articulation and use that. So again, very similar articulation style to all the other Dragon Ball figures that I have in my collection from S.H.Figuarts. Also, from our articulation standpoint, I didn't want to neglect to mention the additional articulation you get here on the shoulder. So I mentioned earlier the fact that this little piece of the gi here on both shoulders is separate, so you can kind of pull it apart from the front. And if you notice here, I don't know if you could see it, there's a little hinge, and what that allows you to do is you can pull essentially the arms all the way out. You just got to move this purple part out, and it kind of gives you that additional articulation here to bring the arms pretty far forward. So again, I think this would help out with you know, those poses where perhaps we want to bring the arms up really close, or maybe have him maybe attempt to do arms crossed kind of pose. The only downside, of course, is if you look in the back, you're left with something that looks like this, right? So it's a lot of gap that's left there with that. But again, just thought I'd mention it, and that's what you're left with. But again, it does give you that additional option of bringing the arms forward and putting this guy in, you know, I guess some more dynamic poses. And you'll see in the size comparisons, when I compare him this to the other S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball figures that I have, he is much taller. If I had any nitpicks, again, no stands with these figure included, and you know, you don't really get a lot of hands, you only get 2 extra heads. It would have been nice to have some kind of fireball or key blast effect included with this one. As I said, this was only 35 bucks, you know, so I get, perhaps that's not considered a lot of money, but you know, again, just adding those additional accessories, I think to me would have added some additional value to it. But from a look standpoint, man, this guy looks great. You know, the posability is definitely there. And again, it's nice to finally have Piccolo here after so long get added to the collection. All right, guys, so here, playing around with the articulation and the good old flight stand, went ahead and switched out his right arm for the key blast, or pointy hand as I like to call it. Left arm, I kind of picked one of the more stretched out, sort of reaching out hands. This one gave me a bit of an issue to get the hand in, so it took a bit of work without potentially breaking anything. Switching out the head was no issue. That kind of just popped off and popped it back in. But again, just want to give you guys a bit of an idea of the posability of this guy here. And again, you guys could see, you know, what he looks like up close there in that pose. Again, you could see some of the action of the separate upper piece of the gi here. Kind of doesn't get in the way like it did with Gohan when trying to do some poses there, but there you go. And here, guys, showing off a bit of a flying kick pose. I think they had a similar pose in the back of the box, so I try to somewhat recreate that again to show the versatility and the posability of this figure. And again, why I think they should start including flight stands with these guys, right? I mean, they look really cool just standing there in like a museum pose, but as you guys could see, I mean, putting these guys in your shelf or in your collection, if you have the room in these kind of poses, definitely goes a long way towards showing off how awesome these figures can look. You guys could see them there holding that kick pose in midair pretty freaking well, I gotta say. I guess the only thing to note is, as I mentioned, the part up here on the shoulder for the gi is separate. So when you're potentially posing this guy, you are going to get some gaps, as you guys could see here, because you can't really move this upper part separately, right? And so again, just something to note. But I mean, I think it's a minor thing, at least for me, as considering how well this guy holds these poses there. And just one last pose here to show you guys a bit of a flying pose, right? Got to have some flight if you're showing off your Dragon Ball figures. Again, no issues with getting this guy into this pose. I did switch out the head here with the more, I guess, I don't know, grimacing look. I'm not too crazy about it, so I'm either going to use the more neutral kind of look for his face or the more screaming one. But this one's probably the least favorite head included for this guy, but again, looking pretty good there. Maybe he's jumping or flying somewhere to help Gohan or Goku, what have you. But again, pretty cool looking there. He looks pretty awesome in this flying pose here. So let's go ahead and get going here with the size comparisons, starting off with why not some of my favorites. One of my Transformers. Here's his Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. And also because I had him out, here he is next to the comic book edition of Grimlock here. Again, nothing to do with each other, but I do happen to think this looks pretty badass in my book. You got Piccolo standing there, and you've got, of course, Optimus and Grimlock. So for what that's worth, if anyone is interested, that's what they all look like together. So we'll move Grimlock out of here. We'll move Optimus out of here. And why not some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff? So here he is next to the Casey Jones from Super 7 in this case, Super 7 Ultimate. So that's what he looks like next to him. So we'll move him out. And why not bring in some more turtles? This is from NECA. This is from their old movie line here. So again, pretty comparable in size there. And then I also had the older, these are S.H.Figuarts turtles that have been out for quite a while now. These are really nice. They have die casts on the legs. The green team, I'm gonna call them. Yeah, but again, that looks pretty cool in my book too. I mean, Piccolo here is looking pretty good with a lot of these other figures there. So again, we'll move these two turtles out. And while we're at it, why not some Storm collectibles? So here he is next to the Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2, I believe. Balrog or M. Bison, depending on where you're at. This is from Storm Collectibles, the Street Fighter line, as I mentioned, but there you go. That's what they will look like size-wise. So we'll move Balrog out, bring in another more recent Storm Collectibles. This is Wolf Hockfield from Virtua Fighter. Again, pretty cool looking there. So we'll move Wolf out. Bring in my old Mega Man here. Giga Armor, I believe, from also, I think, Tamashii Nations. So that's what it looks like next to Mega Man there. And then why not bring in my old metal build, Mazinger C. Also from Tamashii Nations. Nice to have these there. Kind of cool. I know that this is purple and this is a bit more cobalt blue, I want to say, but they kind of look like they match. So there you go. That's Mazinger C. We'll move him out of the way. And before we move on to the Dragon Ball comparisons, why not bring in here a Figma. This is from Samus, from her other M appearance there. So again, Piccolo towering a bit over her. So we'll move Samus out. And then lastly, the Dragon Balls, because as you guys can see, this is my 5th Dragon Ball Z figure. My first one was this one. This is the Saiyan Race on Earth Goku from Dragon Ball Z. And this is the superhero Piccolo. As I said earlier during the video, I know they do have a Dragon Ball Z version of Piccolo that comes with the weighted cape and everything. I opted to go for this one just from a budget perspective. It was a bit more affordable. So that's what those two look like together. So we'll move Goku out. We'll bring in Super Saiyan Goku. Again, this is from Dragon Ball Z as well. You guys can see there Piccolo towering over this guy too. Looks really cool. We'll move that Super Saiyan Goku out. Bring in Vegeta here. So here's Super Saiyan Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Looking pretty badass. So we'll move him out. And lastly, bring in Ultimate Gohan from Super Heroes. These are both from the same line. And you guys can see there, the uniforms are pretty similar. The purples are slightly different. On Piccolo here, the purple is darker, and so is the red sash as well. But you can clearly see Piccolo here towers over Gohan there. And I mean, that's pretty appropriate. That looks pretty cool in my book. But that's it for the comparisons, guys. I think this guy kind of fits in pretty well with a lot of these other figures, but he looks pretty awesome there with Gohan. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for me. Overall, really happy with Piccolo there. Not a lot of accessories. Really do wish we could get stands, flight stands with these guys. Perhaps for Piccolo here, a key blast or a fireball effect would have been nice. But again, the figure is probably by far the biggest I have in my collection as far as all the other ones you see there. So the size is nice and the articulation's on point, color's on point. So again, not much of an issue. You know, I'm glad I finally have this added to my collection. But anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, again, thank you so much for your very valuable time. Really appreciate it. If I missed anything or if you have any questions, of course, feel free to leave a comment. Always happy to help folks. But if not, again, thank you, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.